Good morning, FlossTube. My name is Leann, and I am leann.stitches here on YouTube and on Instagram, and this is my 12th FlossTube. I had to check real quick because I couldn't remember for sure. It's been a while. It's been 3 weeks since my last video again. That seems to be the frequency that I'm able to stop everything and film. Let's see. Last weekend was Mother's Day, but it was also my husband's birthday. So I spent all day Saturday baking a cake and trying to do everything for my husband's birthday on Saturday so that I didn't spend my entire Mother's Day baking a cake and doing all that stuff. So I wasn't able to film last weekend. And then the weekend before that was so long ago, I couldn't even tell you what I was doing, honestly. Not a clue. It's just se me fue. So let's see. Sorry about that. My daughter was knocking on the door. So, yeah. Such is life, right? Okay. I'm going to take these off because there's a crazy glare and it's driving me insane. Okay. I have completely lost my train of thought now. Stitching. Let's just get with the stitching and then maybe I'll remember. So as always, the first thing that I am going to show you is my focus piece for the year, and it is Marvel Heroes, and this is by Popular Cross Stitch on Etsy, and I've kind of fallen down on this one lately. That it started out, this 3-week period started out really good. I got like 1,700 stitches done on my Superhero Saturday Sal, which you are welcome to join. We stitch superheroes on Saturdays around here. And then I try to stitch for 30 minutes every night, or most nights. After stitching all day on Saturday, I usually give myself a break on Sunday. And then I try to stitch Monday through Friday, at least 3 or 4 of those days. And the first week of this period, I did really good. And then Saturdays got busy and I wasn't able to stitch until the end of the night, almost as if it were a weekday. And then last week, I didn't stitch on this at all. I stitched on Saturday and that was it. So I did get 3,500 stitches done. So thankfully that one Saturday where I stitched 1,700 stitches kind of helped me with my 1,000 stitches a week goal. It helped me fill in for those days that I fell down. So yeah, here is where I'm at on this page. And basically what I'm doing is I'm starting up in this corner and I'm just taking whatever the next symbol is that is empty, and then I am finishing the color on the page. And now I've had a couple of times where I've missed a stitch, and so I will have to go back to those colors and fill in where I've missed that stitch or two, or where I stitched in the wrong place and I had to tear it out. So I would love to say that I've finished every single one of these colors, but in reality, there are 3 or 4 that I'm going to have to go back with just 1 or 2 stitches and finish whenever I get to it. But I'm really excited. It's really fun to stitch this away. I'm super excited that I was finally able to get it into Pattern Keeper, and I am just praying that when it comes time to do this one, that it will work again, because it seems to be lately that when I can get a pattern into Pattern Keeper the next time I try, it's not working. I'm having that problem with work with some of the patterns that I've been creating lately. Some of them are going into Pattern Keeper just fine, and some of them are not. So anyway, that's where I'm at, and you can kind of start to see the guys taking shape. This guy has a green face, and I don't think there's any green anywhere else, so his face is probably going to stay blank until I get down to him. And then this guy right here is on fire, so I think he's going to stay mostly blank until I get down to him. And this dude is huge, and this is just his shoulder. So his head and the rest of his body are going to come into play on this page. And then, you know, I've got half of this girl done and half of this guy's head done. So it's fun to start to watch that take shape. So yeah, that's that one. And I haven't decided yet if I like the scroll frame or if I don't, but for now it's staying, because it's easy to keep on that. And I kind of just lean it up against my nightstand right there when I'm not using it. And so it's been convenient that way, but there's not a lot of tension on it. So I'm kind of waiting to see when I finish this page, how the tension is going to differ. Am I going to get lines and stuff like that? So yeah, that's the Marvel piece. Beauty and the Beast is my second focus piece. Oh, that's upside down. Go me. So there's that one. And I am so close to a finish. I honestly thought that I was going to be coming on here this week and telling you that I finished it, because I only have 1,700 stitches left. And I really, really, really thought that I was going to get to it this week and I was going to finish it, but I haven't stitched a single stitch on this week. I have stitched 2,000 stitches over the last 3 weeks. So the 2 weeks before that, I managed 1,000 stitches a week, which is my goal. But I am done with all of the colors. I literally just have the rest of the black to backfill. And so this week, after finishing all these roses down here, I went in and I filled in Chip, because I really wanted to see Chip. And then I went and I filled in Cogsworth. So I just have the dog right here. I'm going to do him next. And then I'm going to finish all those flowers and it's going to be done. And I'm not giving up hope. I have 2 days left, today and tomorrow, of this Magical Stitches week. And I haven't done the homework yet, and I'll talk about that later, but I haven't done the homework yet. So that's 1,000 stitches I could get done. And then there's 770 something stitches left, I think, after that. And I could use that to defeat a monster or something like that in Magical Stitches and just get it done. And it's fast stitching. So I'll get into that in the plan section, but yeah, I'm hopeful. The next piece I stitch on was Halloween Quaker. And I stitched on this piece for, it's been so long, I can't remember. I really got to stop doing these videos so far in between. I know I did it for a Magical Stitches task. I think I did 300 stitches for a Magical Stitches task. And then I did another 500 or something for, like, to defeat a monster. I can't remember for sure. I'll show you the whole piece and then I'll show it closer where I worked. So that's where I'm at right now. I am just about to finish my 3rd page, I think. So yeah, and then what I worked on this week, and again, it's been so long, I'm not entirely sure exactly what I worked on, but I think I did this purple little thing right there. I think I finished this one. I think it might have been finished already. I did this owl, and then I did this whole one, I think. Can I say that again? I think, because I don't remember exactly what I did. This would be good when I could use those editing skills that I don't really have to insert a picture of before. If I keep going with this 3 weeks thing, I might have to learn how to do that, just so I can remember and tell you what I worked on. Anyway, I'm really excited about the way this piece is coming out, and I have a little bit of dilemma about this piece that I will again discuss when I get to plans. So yeah, and then the next piece I worked on was the Addams Family Sal, and this was my official start to Mania. I'm doing a whip mania because I'm doing no new starts, and so my and kind of like a whip mania and a finish mania. I haven't done a video since May started, and I know that at my last video I was super undecided about what I wanted my May to look like, and I've basically decided a combination of whip mania and finish mania, which I think basically is what I talked about in my last video. I have 2 or 3 whips. Whips means work in progress if you're new to cross stitch, or FlossTube. Welcome, by the way. I don't think I got that done in all of the craziness in starting this. Anyway, all of a sudden everything just flashed through my head. I don't think I told you the date. It's May 15th. I don't think I said this is a channel about cross stitch. I don't think I said any of that. I think I just started my introduction, got interrupted, and lost my mind. Anyway, welcome to my life. So from last May, I started 4 new projects. I had intended to start more, but I got interrupted by work, which, story of my life, it happened again this May. And so I only got 4 done. But so for this May, I wanted to make sure to work on all 4 of those pieces and get a significant amount done on those 4 pieces, because I really feel like once I got into more of the full coverage stuff, these pieces that aren't full coverage have really kind of sat by the wayside. So my goal was to get a significant amount of progress on each of these 4 projects. And then in addition, I really wanted to finish 2 or 3 projects that are very close, or were very close. I can't remember exactly how many there were. There are at least 3. I can't remember if there was a 4th or not, which just goes to show that I have too many whips because I can't remember. Anyway, this was my first project. This was the first start I did for Mania last year, was the Addams Family SAL. And it was a year-long SAL last year. There isn't a full product image of a finished, of the finished pattern. So this is as good of one as I was able to print off. I do have one digitally that shows a few more rooms, but I don't have a single image that I can find that has the full finished piece. So, I guess you're just going to find out along with me what it looks like. So I did meet my big goal on this one. I stitched 725 stitches so far. I'm going to try to figure out how to show this to you because it's so massive. Slightly more experienced me would have stitched this 1/1 instead of 2/2. This is a 28 count cashel. I finished the tree. I'm so excited. I have been working on this tree forever. I'm pretty sure I started it sometime last fall and I finally finished it and it was the best feeling ever. So here is the full top floor done. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to cover myself up. There's the whole top floor done. And then next, I have a few more stitches to go to finish defeating the monster that I want to defeat in Magical Stitches. So I'm going to keep working on it. I don't really know what part I'm going to work on at this point. I don't know if I'm going to go straight into the floor or if I'm going to go over, it's not in the picture, but over here on this side of the house, there's a graveyard over here somewhere. I'm not even showing you the fabric. I'm doing a terrible job at this. You really got to stop letting me go so long between videos. So there is a graveyard and a mausoleum over on this side. It's a huge mausoleum. And so I'm kind of hesitant to start such another big element of this, but at the same time, it's a lot of block stitching. So I know it would go fast and I could see a lot of progress. On the third hand, it's not technically part of the second floor, which is really what my goal this year is to do, is to finish the second floor. The tree was part of that second floor because it actually drops down into the room below it, which is Morticia's room. But the mausoleum isn't. That graveyard and the gate is a whole outside scene that could be a whole other goal. So I don't really know what I should do. I had it in my Q-snap. I set it all up after finishing the tree to start on the mausoleum because I knew that those stitches would be easy. But I think I might be changing my mind. There's a patch of roof that I can do next. That's not exactly easy, but it's not super hard either. So we'll see. The next piece I worked on was I think this was my second start of Mania. I can't remember if it was my second or my third. Excuse me, allergies. But it's Words to Live by Tiny Modernist. And this was a Sal means stitch along, in case I didn't say that before. I don't know what year it was, but again, it was a year-long Sal. And I came into it at the end after the whole thing would be released. And I love how positive this is and how colorful it is. And when it's done, I want to put it somewhere around the space my girls share. They don't share a bedroom, they share a bathroom, which is also our guest bathroom. And it's been decorated super bright and colorful. And so I think it would really work in there. Somewhere in that area, in the hallway right by the bathroom or in the bathroom. I don't know. I gotta finish it first and then I'll decide, I guess. So here it is. This is the entire top row. And then this is the block that I'm working on. And it's supposed to say, if you can dream it, you can do it. And I put in 750 stitches on this. This white border was already done. I finished the edging and then I started on the inside, and I can't remember if this has been called for whip go or not. I think it might have been. I'm just not on top of it today. But my goal, if it was one of the pieces I'm working on for whip go, ooh, I made a list. No, it's not. So it doesn't really matter. But my goal for whip go when it got called was to finish an entire block. And so for some reason I have that in my head that that's what I want to do. That's why, because it's Mania and it's one of my main starts. And that was my significant progress, because by finishing this block, I finished out the full top row. My goal for the year was to finish an entire row. I can't remember if 2020 me decided that I was going to finish the second row or if I was going to finish the first row. I guess I'm going to have to make that decision as it goes. I mean, this is super fast stitching. These little blocks, like, they don't take long at all. The border takes a little bit of time, but it's all white. So it's not like you're changing colors a lot. It's little tiny stitches. This is I want to say it's a 32 count, but it almost looks more like a 36 count. Linen of some sort. I'm going to go with it's a 32 count Belfast. And this is one of the pieces when I was learning to dye fabric. This was one of my test pieces when I was learning techniques and colors and how the dyes, because the dyes that I use for fabric and floss are different than the dyes that I use for wool. Because wool uses acid and these are fiber reactive, and I could go into all of that. I could talk your ear off about all of that, but I won't. But the point is that I spent 12 years, 11 years dyeing with this one set of dyes, and I had dabbled in the dyes for cotton because I do have a cotton yarn. But I have learned so much over the last year about how to use these dyes, and I'm not going to go off onto that tangent. I will see if I can remember to talk about it at the end. But learning to dye fabric was definitely a process. And that was one of the pieces that I did while I was learning. And so is this next one I'm going to show you, actually. That was all of my whips that I worked on for the last 3 weeks, except I have a finish for my Finish Mania. And it is the Frankenstein Sal. And this is by Stitching Book Club. And it's the only Sal that I've participated in so far. I'm really tempted by the Little Women Sal that is just about to start, because Little Women is probably my favorite book from childhood. I didn't read Harry Potter until I was in college, so it doesn't count as a childhood reading because I'm old. So Little Women, I have a copy. I'm looking at it over there. That's what I'm looking at. My grandpa was an English teacher, a high school English teacher, among many other things, but that's what he retired doing, was teaching English. And when he learned, when I was 10 or 11 years old, and I was reading Babysitter's Club and Sweet Valley Twins and all of those kind of books, I had a really big Christopher Pike and R.L. Stine. I'm really dating myself, I know. But I had a really big run with those scary authors. And when he found out that that's what I was reading, he was like, that's unacceptable. She needs to read real books. So he sent me 2 beautifully put together classics. He sent me Heidi and Little Women. And I still haven't read Heidi, even though it's been more years than I care to admit. But I read Little Women, and I just adore it. And so that's the next Sal. And we all know I'm doing No New Starts 2021. So I'm having a really hard time not using my one start that I'm allowed on this Little Women Sal. But I think I'm gonna hold off because I have been doing so much model stitching that I feel like I start a new project every month anyway. But that's another discussion. I mean, this is what happens when I don't film. How many times have I said that? I have so many things to talk about that I just go all over the place because I can't concentrate. Anyway, I really want to do that Sal. So I'm going to be watching that one closely to see what it looks like. And it's probably going to be one of my 2022 starts, depending on how it goes, because I love the idea of stitching something and just putting it on the bookshelf next to my awesome copy of Little Women. And if I do, I will have to show you how awesome this copy of Little Women is, because it is. Okay, the stitching. You guys care about the stitching. This is Frankenstein Sal finished. Again, I used another one of those pieces of cloth that I learned to dye on. And then I used, this is Dark Cherry, which is one of my colorways that we sell in the shop, which is linked down below. Yeah, and it was a really fun stitch. I admit I still haven't read Frankenstein. I started to read it, and I've heard that it's a little bit slow, and then once you get into it, you get into it. And I still plan to read it, but I did not do the reading for this. So I just did the stitching, and I absolutely loved it. So that's that. And then this right here, I put my initials in there. It says, in the pattern, it says SBC, but I went ahead and put my own initials in there. So yeah, super exciting that I finished something. The thing I was going to say about learning to dye the fabric is that I have actually put all of these pieces up for sale in my shop, and I will link it down below. I'm calling it my one-of-a-kind fabric sale. And so as you can see, there are, the edges aren't perfectly serged. This is zigzag stitched actually before I had a serger. And you know, there are bits of dye that got stuck on the bottom of the dye pot and stuff like that, but they're awesome to stitch on. This one is an 18 count Aida. And like I said, the other one I'm pretty sure is a 32 count Belfast. I've got all kinds of stuff that's up for sale. So if you want to check it out, everything's about 30% off of what I would normally market at full price, now that I know how to dye fabric, and everything is serged and everything. It's about 30% off of what it would cost for a regular piece of fabric. So that's my plug for today. Maybe, no, I've got more plugs. Sorry. Okay, so last time I filmed, I said that I had some FFOs that I wanted to share. They are the model stitching that I've been doing all year for the boxes that my company puts together. Every month-ish, we put together a themed box, and it was just for knitting. And then this year, I've worked really hard to add crochet and cross stitch to these themed boxes that we do. And it's been so much fun. And I've done a lot of designing, which I never thought I would do, but I'm really enjoying it. And I've done a ton of model stitching, which I haven't enjoyed as much because I really want to work on my personal pieces. And so to come home after work and then have to work more has been rough. I'm not going to lie, especially when I've been staying up till midnight stitching on these to get them done. So yeah, but I'm really excited over the pieces themselves, just maybe not so much as on the stitching. So the first one that I have to show you is Gilmore Girls. And this one, it's not the first one I designed because I did the Valentine's Day box that I already showed, those 3 patterns. I had so much fun designing this, especially this poodle right here. That's my absolute favorite. So yeah, that is the Gilmore Girls one. And this one, I think I'm putting up, Valentine's Day is going up in the shop this week to where you can buy the pattern, and there was one color that was exclusive to the kit, and that's going to be for sale. And then we'll have some of the fabric and stuff, and any extras. We might have some extra needle minders or something, which was on one of my projects. It was the little conversation heart. I don't remember what it said. Did it say XOXO? Maybe, not sure. Anyway, so Valentine's Day is going up in the shop this month, probably next week. Gilmore Girls will go up in the shop in June. I know I've had a lot of people asking about that, when that pattern was going to be available. So June is your month. The next one was for our Mandalorian themed box. And I'm not sure. This one actually has glass on it. So we'll see. Oh, look, you can see my messy bookshelf. Oh, there we go. That's pretty good. So this is the Mandalorian pattern, and I'm super proud of this, and I can't even take full credit for it because my husband helped me out hardcore with those two guys, just making sure that they were symmetrical and making sure that Grogu, the shading was right on his robes and on his face and things like that. He really helped me out a lot, so I can't even take credit for it. He also did this. I just had Mandalorian down here, and he's like, no, it is the Mandalorian. And so he stuck that in there. And then, yeah, so he helped a lot with this one, but I really love this one. It was a beast to stitch. There's a lot of stitching in that Mandalorian. I think each letter was like 250 to 300 stitches. So yeah, that's that one. And like I said, that one's all framed, although the back is a mess. I didn't completely finish the back. It still needs to be done. So it's not a fully finished object. It's just a halfway fully finished object. And again, this one is not fully finished either. It's just finished enough for photography. I did not design this one. This was our, my mind just went blank again. This was for the Fight Like a Girl kit that just shipped a few weeks ago. And my graphic designer and friend, Kelly King, designed this one, and she is amazing. I can't even tell you how many different ideas we had, how many different quotes we went through, how many ideas. I just knew that I didn't want the entire kit to all say Fight Like a Girl. I just felt that it was very boring, for lack of a better word. So we found this quote, and I just loved it. And it says, "Some women are lost in the fire, some women are built from it." And I feel like it's a testimony to life. So yeah, there's that one. This one was actually a lot of fun to stitch. This flame went pretty fast because it's all block stitching, and then the words were fun. The border just about killed me, only because this line, see, Kelly doesn't cross stitch, so she doesn't understand. She just is a graphic designer, so she knows what looks pretty, and it sure does look pretty. Oh, don't look at my nails. That's what happens when you dye yarn. This line in there, I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if it's going to focus on it, but I didn't want to back stitch that all individual stitch by individual stitch. So I ran one long stitch across, and then I couched it in between, which looked amazing when it was on my Q-snap all tensioned. And then I pulled it off and it went whew. Did you like that noise, that sound effect? It was pretty special. Anyway, so we had a hard time just even tensioning it right on this little block. I couldn't find a frame that fit it, which was my bad, because I've been working really hard to make sure that the designs fit in ready-made frames so that they're inexpensive to frame. So I think I might finish this one out finally in like a trifold thing or something. But so it's just pinned on the back of this. I don't even know what this is. Kelly did it. She did all of it. She's amazing. Did I say that already? Because she's amazing. So yeah, this was the Fight Like a Girl one, and that was the last model stitch that I did. And I am in the middle of another model stitch. I just started it this week, hence the reason why I have completely fallen off the wagon. And I literally have nothing to show for this week other than the words to live by. I finished that on Monday, and then I started the Bridgerton model stitch on Tuesday. And we are completely sold out of those boxes. They sold out in less than a week. It was insane. I wish we had planned to make more, but at the same time, the number that we are making is pretty intense. So I've gotten lots of questions about extras, or if we have any more. I always put fewer in the shop than I actually plan to make, because something always goes wrong. If and this is going to get probably more technical than you care to know, but my subscription service, I do 3 yarn clubs and 1 floss club. And I have an app that runs on my platform that runs those subscriptions. So when you purchase a subscription, it doesn't go through my regular checkout. It goes through checkout with the subscription processor, which is why you can't use PayPal. If you try to use PayPal when you're checking out, it will tell you that it's out of stock. They only allow credit cards. If you put something in your cart with that subscription, because it doesn't go through regular checkout, it never deducts it from inventory. So the last 4 or 5 boxes that we've done, I didn't catch on to that. Well, I shouldn't say the last. We caught on to it 2 or 3 boxes ago, but we would come up short. We'd make, say, 50 boxes, and we'd ship 50 boxes, and all of a sudden we'd have 2 orders left, and we couldn't figure out how it was happening. And we finally figured it out, thankfully. So now, because we'd have to scramble to order extra and get these boxes out that were supposed to ship on X day, and all of a sudden they were shipping a week or 2 later because we had to scramble and get all these extras made. So I always put less in the shop than we actually plan to make. It's only 2 or 3. So I will have theoretically 2 or 3 extras to put up after we're shipped, as long as everything is fine and we actually have that number of orders that we're expecting. But it's only 2 or 3, and I've gotten several more than that requests. That sentence made no sense. I've had more than 2 or 3 requests for extra boxes. So I don't really know how that's going to go. I don't really know how to make that fair. I can't really keep up with a wait list. So all I know is theoretically we'll have 2 or 3 extra boxes once all is said and done. That's assuming everything that we ordered comes in. We don't get shorted anything. Nothing arrives broken. A lot of the things are handmade. So, pieces break, things happen. So assuming everything comes in okay, we will have 2 or 3 extra boxes, and I will figure out how to make that as fair as possible to get the word out that we have 2 or 3 boxes left. All that said, anything else we have left over, including floss, fabric, and the pattern, will go up for the shop. I try to keep things exclusive for at least 3 months. So that would put us at September, October for extras going up in the shop. So that was a lot. I didn't mean to get into that much detail, but I do that sometimes. Okay, so what we do have in the shop right now is Cobra Kai. And it's actually my May fundraiser. So every May, which is the anniversary of my dad's death, he died 18 years ago. I do a fundraiser for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and I'll put a link down below. My dad committed suicide when I was 23, and I didn't know how to process it. I'd never lost anyone, and that's a hard loss for anyone, but for it to be your dad, who you are super close to, and I'm going to try not to cry. The anniversary is coming up in a few days, so I'm like super emotional. For it to be your dad, who I was super close to, for it to be the first person I ever lost, and to be just completely rocked by the fact that he committed suicide. I was messed up. Like, if you knew me back then, I'm so sorry. My husband is like, I would call him a saint, but he's not. But I met him 6 months after my dad died, and I was a mess. I don't know why he stuck through it. I don't know why. Like, I moved cross country. Like, I was a mess. And it wasn't until 3 or 4 years after he died that I found the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. And every year they do this thing called the overnight walk. And what it is it used to be 20 miles. I don't know how many miles it is now. I know that they've cut it down. But you start at dusk and you end at dawn, because the idea is that you're coming out of the darkness, because mental health, it's gotten better over the last few years, but it's still something we don't really talk about. If you're depressed, you just need to lighten up and get happy and just get out of bed. And, and that's not, when you're truly depressed, that's not something you can just do. And so that's that whole idea behind the walk. And I had a very dear friend of mine who struggled with depression and suicidal thoughts. she and I walked in, I want to say 2007, but it might have been 2008. I did it 2 years in a row, but it was the first year with my friend that made the biggest impact on me. And it was in New York City. We were living in New Jersey at the time. My friend lived in Arizona, and she flew out and we did the walk together. And it was an experience, but it wasn't all of that other stuff all of that other stuff aside. I vividly remember standing in a crowd of people listening to the speakers for the opening ceremonies at essentially dusk in New York City, which is impactful enough. And I just remember looking at all of these people, and it was the first time since he died that I didn't feel alone. I didn't understand my grief. I didn't understand why I couldn't just get over it. I didn't understand any of it. And they helped me so much. And so every May, I do a fundraiser where 50% of all the profits go to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. I can never say that right. And normally I do a Neil Diamond yarn collection because Neil Diamond was my dad's favorite singer, and I could give you lots more details about that, but I won't, and about the reasons why I chose it. But it was his favorite singer, and so I created a collection of colors. And normally I bring those back out, and I do the fundraiser on that yarn. But last year, because of all the shutdowns and the mental health crisis that all of that caused in this country, and around the globe really, but I added a couple of colors, and that fundraiser was astounding. I can't remember exactly how much money I sent, but it was awesome. And this year I kind of felt like I needed to leave that there and that experience there because of the emotions that it drew up, because of the people that I talked to, and the stories that I heard. I really felt like I needed to leave that in 2020 and not do the same thing again. So Cobra Kai, enter Cobra Kai. My dad loved Karate Kid. Loved Karate Kid. I can't tell you how many times I watched it with him, all three of them. Even the new one with Hilary Swank, we watched that one over and over again. I don't know what it is that he loved about it. I know that he liked to copy Mr. Miyagi and say things like, "Don't know, first time," and his really bad Japanese accent, and wax on, wax off, and all of those things. He just loved it, and for whatever reason. And so the timing of the Cobra Kai box was very fortuitous, and so 50% of all the profits on the Cobra Kai boxes are going to go to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. There is knit, there is crochet, there is cross stitch. I designed the knit pattern and the cross stitch pattern, and I'm super excited about the cross stitch pattern. Like, I agonized over it, and I probably went through 12 different versions, and where I ended up, I'm super happy with, and I'm even happier that I was able to find a model stitcher for it so that I can focus on Bridgerton. But those are up for sale now. That is my last plug for my shop, I promise. And I probably talked way longer than you wanted to hear about that for FlossTube, so I'm sorry. I'll see if I can figure out how to add a text that says stop here if you don't want to hear me ramble, because I know I just did that for a long time, and I'm sorry. But it's something that's obviously very important to me and very close to my heart, and it's work that I feel is very important. So yeah, plans. Oh my goodness, plans. I'm still not even done. So this week, I obviously have to work on the Bridgerton model stitching. It's a fairly large pattern. It's not hard stitching, there's just lots of it. So I'm going to be working on that most of this week. But my number one goal this week outside of that is I am going to finish Beauty and the Beast. This is me right now, May 15th at 10:52 in the morning. I am going to finish Beauty and the Beast this week. The next thing I want to do is I want to finish the Words to Live By, that block. There's so little stitching left that I know it will just take me one night. And then Adam's Family, I'd like to finish that last 750 stitches because I'm working on a monster for Magical Stitches, and I'd like to finish that. After that, I don't really know. I have 2 more pieces that I need to work on for my Mania goals. Well, 3 more if you count the finish I have Castles in the Air by Long Dog Sampler, and I have Wizard of Oz by Hade. And then my finish would be one of my Dimensions Gold ornaments, Christmas ornaments. That was actually the first thing I ever started, was that ornaments kit. So those are my 3 mania goals left, and we're obviously halfway through the month. And life is only getting more crazier on the weekends. So yeah. And I know I was going to talk about more stuff that I said I was going to talk about. Oh, I remember that other thing I want to talk about. I need your guys' input. So when I finish Beauty and the Beast, it is currently my oldest whip. I started it back in February. And so when I finish it, the way Magical Stitches works is every week you get weekly tasks, and they always add up to about 1,000 stitches a week. And so since that aligned with my Beauty and the Beast goals, where I wanted about 1,000 stitches a week, to finish it in time for Genevieve's birthday next month, I've been using it for penalty stitches. So sometimes it fits the prompts, but most times it doesn't. And penalty stitches in Magical Stitches this year is stitch on your oldest whip. So that's what I've been doing. I've just been doing 1,000 stitches a week on my oldest whip, and I take pictures. So if each task is like 250 stitches, I'll just stop at 250 stitches and I'll take a picture, and that'll be that task. And then that's my starting point for the next one. And I just, I've just worked through it, and it's been working really well. I've obviously gotten lots of progress on it. Now, once that's done, my next oldest whip becomes my penalty stitches. Well, my next oldest whip is Marvel, and that is my full coverage focus piece for the group for the year, which is a whole other battle challenge thing. So that one gets taken out of the running because I'm already using it for that. So my next oldest whip is Halloween Quaker, which I just showed you. And I'm torn. I don't have a huge goal on Halloween Quaker this year. I think I wanted to do like 5,000 stitches. Maybe it was 7,500 stitches, or basically finish half the piece, which is, I think I'm pretty much done with half the piece, because I thought it was 8 pages and I'm about to finish the 3rd page. So I thought I had 1 more page left and then I'd be halfway done, but it turns out it's 6 pages. So technically I'm halfway done, and therefore done with my goal for the year after I finish this page. And I think maybe I have 500 stitches left to finish that. So my dilemma is, when I finish Beauty and the Beast, do I continue on with that 1,000 stitches a week on Halloween Quaker, because it just makes it easy? I can feel like I'm putting in the stitches to help my team, and I'm making a lot of progress on something. So do I just continue on with that process with Halloween Quaker and probably see it finished sometime this year, in the next few months? Or do I do the challenges as they're written and try to piece in other whips and maybe not make as much progress on a single whip as I would Halloween Quaker? So I'm curious what your thoughts are, because I literally can't decide, which means I will likely go back and forth and drive myself insane. So yeah, I think that's it. If you've made it this far, you are amazing, because I was all over the place this video. All over the place. I really think that's it. I have to go outside and see if my husband was able to finish putting our kids' new trampoline together. They got it for Christmas, and it's our turn to host taco night tonight. So we're trying to get the trampoline put together so that all of the kids can go jump and play on the swing set and go play and let the adults rest for a minute. And I also have to clean the house, and I have to make like 5 pounds of taco meat. And I promised Noelle that we would make ice cream sundaes for dessert. So I got to go to the store, and I have to do all the things. This is why I don't get to film on Saturdays anymore, because we're doing all the things, and it's awesome. Don't get me wrong. But waiting 3 weeks to film is rough. So I'm not going to promise I'm going to be back next week, because I'm 99% sure something crazy is happening next week. I don't know what it is, but I'm 99% sure that it is, because that's life right now. But I will at least try to be back in 2 weeks. I'm going to try to make it every 2 weeks instead of every 3 weeks for now. But with our garden starting to go full bore, and I'm just trying to do all of the things that spring does, I don't know that I will be able to film every week. All right. I've beat that dead horse. Is that the saying? I don't even know. Have a good week, y'all. And always, as always, whatever you do this week, lead with love. Bye.